Perfect. Hi, everyone, and welcome to one of the last mugs this year, Iberia mug, and our topic of Marketo certification. We have users here from Spain, Portugal, and today from all over the world. So thank you all for joining, and we're going to get started. Your mug hosts today are Christina and myself, Veronica. We both live in Spain, and while I'm not a native Spanish speaker, I do speak some Spanish, and I also speak Marketo. I'm a Marketo Certified Expert, and currently I'm working as a marketing ops manager at a company called Alma. We are operating in the healthcare space. And I have been working with Marketo on a daily basis for about 6 years now. This year, I'm also a Marketo champion, and part of this role, so to call it, is to bring together the community here in Europe and share learnings and best practices with everyone. Christina, would you like to come off mute and introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Christina. Spanish, native Spanish. And this one of the reasons to create this mug is to bring together the community of Marketo users, both in Spain and Portugal. But we're very, very happy that all of you have been able to join for this mug too. So we're really excited to have this too.
I will move slide. You can see my slides, Christina.
I can. Yes. We wanted to start also by reminding you a little bit of the engaged user group house rules. So there's three key things that you bear in mind is that in order to ensure that we stay user focused and this is a safe space for everybody in the user group to be able to network and as you can see, do problem solving, we need you to follow these rules. The first one of all and very important is that there should not be any self-promotion or pitching of any kind in the Marketo user group events. And without the consent of people of the group, you should not be contacting each other. Also, without their consent, you should not use any information or share any use case that any MAG member is sharing with this group. So we keep it private. And then there's some information as well if you'd like to join our Marketo user group for Iberia. Some of you have, some of you will rather join your local Marketo user groups, but this is the information that you can select if you want to join our Marketo user group. You should navigate to the site that you're seeing information. We will post it on the chat in a few minutes as well, so you can link on it. And then you create your account using the email that you have associated with your Marketo Engage account, and then you can join our chapter.
Thank you, Christina. And we are now 30 plus members. This is an old slide, so that's exciting that our small mug is growing and it's open to everyone. So back to our session today. We will cover the 3 main Marketo certifications available or soon to be available. And our guest speakers will give us some tips for taking the exam. We will leave some time to answer your questions. Also, feel free to drop questions in the chat as we go. I'm gonna document these and we read them at the end. And if you're Spanish speaking and you're more comfortable asking questions in Spanish, please feel free to write your question and Christina will translate for us. Actually, before, at the end of the session, we are going to do a raffle where we will hand 3 vouchers that are good for an MCA or an MCE certification. So make sure you stay with us until the end when we're going to announce 3 winners. Before we start, I wanted to ask a question to the audience. So I'm going to launch a poll. Perfect. I see many responses coming through. I'm going to actually share the results with everyone. So we have a pretty good balance here. There's a lot of people who plan to take the first Marketo certification, and you have come to the right place to get the information. And we also have folks who want to renew their certification, and that's also really good to get information about what has changed since the last time you have taken a certification. So thank you all for answering the question. I'm going to close the poll. I'm incredibly grateful and happy to have two of the most the greatest Marketo champions joining us today. Ajay dialing in all the way from India, and Chiara waking up very early for us, dialing in from North America. I would love for you both to come off mute and introduce yourselves. Why don't we start with Ajay?
Hey everyone, thank you so much for dialing in. And it is great to be a part of this mug. And I'm 3 times Marketo champion, 6 times Marketo certified expert. I have been using Marketo for more than 10 years. And I'm also a visible user group leader as well. So just in case, if you want to learn more about marketing attribution, feel free to join our virtual visible user group. And that will give you more insights on different aspects of attribution and how that can help. And like I said before, excited to be a part of Iberia group and looking forward to share our knowledge. And one more thing which I want to tell you, that I happen to be the subject matter expert of Adobe. So I'm actually the first Marketo Certified Associate exam. I was a part of core committee who actually wrote that exam, and then the newly launched Marketo Certified Expert exam, I was a part of that as well. And the another exam which which we will be releasing for the Adobe Master, that is actually the new architect level exam. I was fortunate to be part of that exam writing as well. So yeah, this is all about me, and excited to be a part of this virtual user group.
Tough to follow Ajay always. I'm Chiara. I am dialing in from California. I am a 2-time Marketo champ. I have been certified 3 times with my MCE. And just like Ajay, I was also part of the team who created the first Certified Professional exam, as well as the new MCE. So yeah, we're in good company. We've got someone's been part of almost all of these exams we'll talk about.
Thank you both. Really, really excited to have your expertise on this call. And I think we are good to get started talking about the Marketo Engage Business Practitioner.
Yeah, so I'll jump into this one. This exam is, well, first let me make a note. I'm going to be talking about the exam that is currently available for you to take, the Certified Business Practitioner. But just a note that on February 14th, this exam will be retired, and in its place will go ES 555. It's not expected to change too much. We may have some different weighting of the categories, but in terms of difficulty of the exam, scope of the exam, it will be very similar. So what I'm talking about shouldn't change too much. And starting next week, you'll have the option to take either of the exams. So just keep that in mind. So I'll jump right in. The business practitioner exam is the easier of the 2 exams. So you need much less experience with Marketo than you would, well, of the 3 exams, I guess. So you need much less experience with Marketo than you would for the other exams. So you're going to want to have about 3 to 6 months of marketing experience and at least 3 months being hands-on in Marketo. And then just some kind of knowledge of business context of Marketo, I'd say, or of marketing automation in general. I'd say kind of the MCE level exams focus very much on the meat of Marketo, This one has that as well, but it also kind of focuses on marketing best practices on the whole. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. And some benefits of this exam: it'll differentiate you in the job market. You can get some recognition from your employer, and it'll help validate your skills. So if we want to move to the next slide, Veronica. Thank you. So here is the current exam topics and their breakout. Just keep in mind that this will change soon, or may change soon. So marketing automation fundamentals will be 20%. Audience targeting and data management will be 15%. Email marketing fundamentals, that's the real meat of this exam, it's 30%. Landing pages 10, form basics 10, and then analytics and reporting is 5%, and events and webinars are 10%. So it's going to be a 60 question test. You will have multiple choice and multi-select options. So there's no free form writing or anything. You'll always have options to choose from. You will have 120 minutes to take the exam, which you can take on site. I'm not sure if that's still a thing during COVID and whatnot, but if it is, you could take it on site. It's also available online proctored, and you have to get at least 76% in order to pass. So 46 out of the 60 questions. So I put a few resources here. If you're ready to take the exam, we have the link right there. The exam guide, I would say, is incredible. It's got really good, like, if you want to take this exam, you should be able to do XYZ. So if you're going to take this exam, at bare minimum, I suggest looking at the exam guide. At the bottom, like the end of the exam guide, there's also like practice questions and other resources. So let's say you struggled on a question about scoring, for example, there will be the resources for scoring that were used to help create the exam. So that's going to be really where you want to base your work off of. But let's say you're struggling with the whole thing. I highly suggest using the New to Marketo Learning Path in Marketo University, the Marketo Core Concepts training, and then take a look at the study guide. And overall, I would say for this exam, you just want to be like, I think this will really help set you apart. If you're in your first year or two of your career, you're looking for maybe a specialist or a senior specialist role, I think this is really excellent. And then once you go, like you're wanting to move into more of a manager level and above role, that's where I think the other exams that Veronica and Ajay will talk to you about will come in a little bit more. Oh yes, we have practice questions. So let's do these ones live. If you guys want to just shout out your answers, let's put answers in the chat. So the first practice question we have is, if your goal is to generate new prospects in your database, which strategy should you use? Direct mail, email marketing, pay-per-click, or telemarketing? So let's see. I got a couple of C's here, and that would be correct. Yep, so pay-per-click marketing. Nice job, everyone. I think everybody got that one, so that's nice. Let's see the next one. So which is not a benefit of using my tokens in a program? So it reduces the chance of inconsistency or error in program assets. It personalizes emails and landing pages. It decreases the amount of time required to build a new program, or it ensures consistent application of best practices among the team. So
this one is a tricky one, Chiara.
It's a little bit trickier, but I did pull it out of the study guide of the practice exam. So that's why I tried to do one easier, one harder.
Yeah, that's really great. And I think also the way the question is formulated can, you know, be a bit confusing. So maybe a best thing to do is read the question carefully.
Yes. Highly recommend that. So we're getting kind of a whole host of answers here. And when you think about tokens, they can really do all of this, right? You can have tokens that'll decrease the amount of time. You can have tokens that personalize. For this specific question, the answer was B. So remember, when we're using my tokens in a program, that's things like, you know, a webinar date and time, or, you know, program level tokens, right? So we would be using person level tokens to personalize. And that's why the answer is B.
Tricky. Yeah.
Very tricky. And I think it's all down to the wording as well, because if you're thinking through just tokens, all of them are correct.
That's great. Chiara, do you have any more tips or advice for the people on the call looking to take the practitioner exam?
I would say just look over all of the resources that I shared on the slide deck. And I'm sure that deck will be shared out after this call. I think if you're able to successfully go through those, I think you will have no problem taking the exam. And read every question twice before you answer.
Thank you, Chiara. This was helpful for everyone. I think if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and we'll take them later with Chiara. I would like to move forward and talk about the expert exam.
Awesome. So hey everyone, looks like it is my turn now. So, you know, for expert exam, the thing is that, you know, it is suggested to have 18 months of experience with Marketo, and the candidate should be able to know, or should be able to easily build, launch, and analyze the campaigns, and, you know, a little bit of HTML knowledge, integration with various other platforms, plus a little bit of CRM sync knowledge is something that is advisable. So, you know, a few things related to partition and workspaces are also something that, you know, which is sort of expected from, you know, Adobe Certified Expert, or you know, the Marketo Engage Business Practitioner ADO E554, which is the newest exam that got launched in April 2021, is being expected, you know, the users to know all these things. And by the way, there is the older version of exam, that is ADO E552, that is still live, and you know, it is live till the end of this month. So starting 1st of January, the candidates will have to go for only this 554 exam. This is the newest one. So means, but if you plan to give the Marketo Certified Expert exam before 31st of December, you have the option to choose either this one or the one which has been, you know, running from the past few years. But post Jan 2022, you will be having only option to select this ADO E554 exam. Next slide, please. So here are the exam topics. So the exam topics of the new exam, which was actually launched in April 2021, is, you know, administration and maintenance 12%. And here, you know, the questions will be asked about CRM sync and all other cool stuff. The second exam topic, which actually requires almost 46% of the total examination questions, that is marketing activities and campaign management. So when you're planning to give this exam, pay a lot of, you know, pay a lot of attention to this specific topic. And you know, I will be sharing the tips as well, that you know how that is, so that it can actually help you to get close to, you know, what you're looking for, that is clearing the exams. And then the lead management, that is actually 12% of the total exam. Then data management, that actually 10% of the total exams, that will be actually going to get asked during the exam, live exam. And then the reporting is 4%. So 4% of the questions will be asked during the exams from reporting. And then we have the best practices, and that is going to be the 16% of the total exam questions. So what are the best practices? The best practices could be, which we usually do it in normal marketing ops live, that could be, you know, related to your CRM sync. It could be related to how best we could leverage workspaces partition, or how best we could use, the uh, in general email performance, email deliverability and all. So the exam format, so there are 50 questions, and those are basically multiple choice and multi-select. The candidate is going to get 120 minutes to answer these questions. And it is also available on site and online proctored exam. And there is one thing that I want to tell you: if you're going for online proctored exam, do test your internet bandwidth and just try to check whether you're meeting the requirements set up by the third party agency, so that at the last minute you may not have to reschedule or cancel your exam just because you're not meeting the network bandwidth or the other guidelines shared by them. And in order for someone to pass this exam, there are 32 questions which the candidate needs to clear or more to pass. Now, within this exam, if you browse the page, the certification page, there are two things which you should go for. One is the examination guide, because that will give you the topics and sort of the questions which you can go for. There are basically three things. Second thing is exam readiness test. This is the coolest feature that is actually available on the web page of Adobe certification page, where what you could do, you can actually give you can actually take that online exam to find it out how ready you are with those topics and what all you need to cover. And then thereafter you have the sample questions as well, which you could practice, and you can actually understand that what is going to be the format of what is going to be the sample format of these questions. So exam guide is the most important one. Exam readiness test is the another thing which I would recommend each one of you who are actually aspiring to take this exam to go through. And the third one is the sample exam questions. Next slide, please, Veronica. So here we have the steps, for if you want to take the exam, click on register here. Then we have resources, we have paid resources as well as free resources. So choice is yours, which one you want to go for. Paid resources have their own benefits, but those are paid. But if you will follow the examination guide, and if you follow the free trainings as well, you should be good. But completely up to you, if you could afford, and if the company is ready to sponsor for your paid training material, please by all means go for it. But that is not something that limits someone in appearing for an exam. My experience is that if you follow the guide, the exam guide properly, that should be more than enough. And one important tip from my side: whenever you're reading the product doc, there is a tip. Always, there is a tip in every product documentation, or every step that you will follow. Always try to understand those tips, that what is the thing which you should remember. So there is a bulb icon which you should be able to see it in all the documents, and always try to pay more attention and try to understand and learn those things. So recommended study material, that is Marketo docs or Marketo engaged knowledge base, and the exam questions are mainly coming from these two sources. Next slide.
Perfect. This is great information. I think we have a few questions that are for practice, so we're moving on to those.
Awesome. So here are two practice questions, and I'm sorry, I just messed it up and added both the questions in one slide. So the first one is that Glenn's SDR team has requested that he starts distributing lead alerts via company's internal chat collaboration platform instead of emails. So which flow step Glenn use in a smart campaign to make the SDR team's dream come true? So, okay, Enrico said C. Okay, cool. Yuvraj also said C. Awesome. So yeah, that's right. The correct answer is C, because The send alert functionality is meant for sending an alert, that is an email. Create task is actually meant for creating a task on Salesforce, and calling a webhook is the right thing. So thank you so much for your participation. And the second question is that, Ajay would like to set up a lead scoring model using best practices. Which are the 2 steps that Ajay must complete in order to build the lead scoring model? So which 2 steps you think are correct? Yep, you're right. The correct answer is C and D. So the another tip which I want to share with from my side is that when I first gave the expert exam question, it was many years back. And if I'm not wrong, I was the first Marketo certified expert from India as per the LinkedIn user group, uh, because at that time there was a LinkedIn user group, and then and at that time there were 190 certified expert in that LinkedIn group, and I was the only one from India, or maybe not only one, but the first one from India. There are many experts in India now. So the first time when I went to the examination hall, my heart was pounding, and I was very nervous. So one thing I want to tell you, even if the first question is not the one that you think is the right or wrong, always move on to the next one, and just keep giving your best, and don't get nervous while seeing the examination question. And another tip that I want to share with you is that, let's assume if you're not familiar with one question, or maybe you're just a bit skeptical or doubtful whether you should go for this question or the another, or this option or the another option, always flag it. There is an option that you can actually flag that question, and then while you have answered all those questions, you can come back to those questions which are flagged, and then try your best judgment in finding it out that which option is going to be good. So yeah, these are the main things which I wanted to mainly cover. So I believe this is the last slide on my part.
Thank you so much, Ajay. This was incredibly helpful. I wish we had this session earlier. I just renewed my certification. So I took this test E554. One point you made was that there's now a practice exam completely free offered by Marketo or Adobe, so people can test their skills before going to the real exam. But the good news is that since there's 2 exams available for the next month, you have 2 practice tests to take. So that's what I did. I took both of them. One test has 30 questions. The other one has 50 questions. So I had actually 80 questions to practice, and that was incredibly helpful for me.
Yeah, and there is another thing for this exam that that is called the exam readiness questionnaire. It actually asks the candidates whether means you are familiar with one topic or another. So that will actually give you some sort of understanding that which topics the candidate should be focusing more on. So yeah, the sample questions are good. That will give you some idea about how you're going to see the exam questions and how the format is going to be. But the readiness exam readiness tool is something which the candidate should take a look into as well.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. There's also that questionnaire. Great. So that's the first 2. We have one more to talk about, the master one. I wanted to clarify a point. Several people asked me this question: do I need to be certified as a professional to take the expert one? And I think the answer is no. You can go and take this exam, the expert exam, if you feel ready for it, if you have been working in Marketo for a while, if you have been an admin for a while, you can go and take this test. There's no requirement. You're certified with the other certification. Okay, so again, if you have any questions for Ajay, please write them in the chat and we are gonna go through it at the end. And I'll move on to the perhaps like the biggest one or the hardest one, the Adobe Certified Master, which was formerly known as Marketo Certified Solutions Architect. And here is where we have like the biggest change in certification. So previously this certification existed, but it was only open to partners, mainly agencies, I think, and there were requirements around having the MC and a few badges. The format was a real case client project, showcasing how the candidate went about implementing a solution, the overall project and the success. So there was a presentation done virtually with a panel of experts. A lot of good news here. So the master exam is moving from the case presentation format to an exam format, which is very much in line with the rest of the certifications. You see here the exam format will have 46 questions. There will be multiple choice and multi-select with a case study. We will have 120 minutes to pass that, and it will be online. We're still waiting for information on, the pass mark or the price for this exam. The other great news is that the Certified Master will be open to not only partners, but also customers and independent consultants. I think that many did not qualify before because of this requirement, including myself, very interested to take this certification. We will receive more information. I know that the architect exam is in beta, meaning that the actual exam went through, being written by subject matter experts like Ajay, current architects. So we will know more in February next year. In terms of topics for this exam, I put here the 4 topics that I received from the certification team. So the first one would be project leadership, where there are questions about how do you plan your resources, how do you work with scoping a project and the timeline of a project. Another topic would be the Marketo Engage architecture design. And this is more about how would you review an existing implementation, how would you plan for a new one, how you would outline like an operational procedure, implementing X, Y, and Z in an instance, incorporating maybe new technology, new integrations to a Marketo instance. There's also a part about reporting and attribution. So this will be more about the approach. How would you structure your reporting if you have different scenarios like paid and organic? How would you do the attribution model, channel setup, maybe what metrics would you report on for the business, things like that. The last one here is advanced operations, and I know this one is a bit broad, but it has to do with governing a Marketo instance. So there's stuff about best practices like security, deliverability, how do you manage an instance overall. I think that one thing to mention is that this is not an exam that would test your Marketo admin skills. The exam that will test your admin skills is this one, the E554 that Ajay just talked about. For the master one, the candidate is expected, to have a higher level view of maybe a MarTech department or the marketing ops department and the tech stack, and how Marketo plays into that. In terms of requirements, there's a recommendation to have 5 years of experience with multiple instances of Marketo. So either you work at different companies or maybe even at the same company, you use different instances. That's always helpful to have your eyes, to see different setups. And then, the goal is to demonstrate that you do understand the business impact of Marketo, you're able to translate a solution into a Marketo architecture and what are the principles of architecting an instance. So of course, the requirement is also to have the new expert exam current, which is the E554. So if you need to renew, make sure you renew with the E554 because the E552 will be retired and will not qualify you to take the master. Okay, so I think this was the overall information about the certification. We're going to move into QA now, but before we do that, I have another poll for our audience. So let me quickly launch that for you. I see a lot of answers coming through. I'm going to end the poll and share the results with everyone. Okay, so we can see that most people on the call are interested to get the expert one. Quite a lot are also interested in the master. I guess it has to do with master being open to the audience more than before. And then the certified professional is of interest as well. So that's great. Okay, thank you all for answering the poll. I think we are going to move into QA. So feel free to unmute yourselves, ask the question, write it in the chat. We would love to hear what your doubts are. I see there's a question in the chat. Is it always clear if there is only one answer to select or multiple? Chiara, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I actually don't remember. So there's two options for you to take right now for the MCE. I don't remember if the old one did this, but the new one, we now say like choose 3 or choose 2 or whatever. So those you will always know and you won't be surprised. And if it's only a single, you will only be able to select one.
Thank you, Chiara. I see another questions here. For the exams, which will happen in February of 2022, are all the questions be from Marketo docs? Ajay, would you like to answer this one?
Sure. This is actually more for Chiara's part, but happy to answer. So, so the thing is that most of the questions are going to be from product doc, but the scenarios are always going to be different. Only the steps or the important things which you should remember, or means, you know, the best practices, the steps, those will be from product doc. But other than that, there is a complete Marketo user base and other documents available. You know, that is called Marketo customer base. I'm just not able to recall it correctly. Just go with those as well. So the best practices are never documented case by case on any product doc. So just keep that in mind. But the limitation of something is always documented in product doc. So in my opinion, not everything will come from product doc, but product doc is a great help that can actually help you to find the limitations of that specific feature of Marketo.
And is that
Thank
the case
you.
for the master exam as well? Because both of those are coming out in February 2022.
Yeah, that's right. I
so
actually, oh yeah, I actually thought it was your part. Yeah, it could be masters as well. So masters questions are slightly different because, you know, as Veronica already mentioned that, you know, that has not much to do with the technical know-how of Marketo, although you are expected to know Marketo at first place, but it is a step ahead than that. So if we are talking about the master one, then if the question is related to master, then the thing is that it is not just only the product doc. A product doc is basically meant for MCE. For masters, you should know many things like CRM sync. You know, the other, how you're going to get your tool integrated with the other platforms, how you're going to architect it. You know, the benefit of one integration over the another means all the advanced topic, the attribution side of it, the deliverability side of it. So that kind of a thing. But yeah, most of the things should be documented on product doc, but you know, those are the real life or real world evidence, or you know, these situation or scenarios that you face in real world. So not everything will be part of product doc.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think there's another one again around, you know, best practices. So is it expected that best practices related to Marketo or best practices regarding marketing automation or email marketing?
Which question
No.
means which exam is
Este es
that?
el de
Is it for MCE or MCA or masters?
I think best practices.
certifications.
Sorry, I will ask people to mute themselves. We can hear some background noise. I think best practices is a topic for the
Yeah,
MCE currently.
yeah, for the MCE, I was asking the question.
Okay. So cool. So the best practices, as you rightly mentioned, that it has to do with the best practices of Marketo, best practices of marketing automation, as well as email marketing.
It's a combination of all this.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Another question in the chat: what is the validity for the new certifications?
2 years. Except the Marketo Certified Associate one, I believe. I'm not sure whether it is still having the 2 years of validity. I think it is for lifelong, but I'm not sure how the new exam is going to work. But
yeah,
the other
if
exam,
you take the old one, mine doesn't have an expiry date. So the first one that Ajay and I helped create didn't have an expiry date, but I'm not sure about the new version.
Great. Yeah, I also know about 2 years because mine expired after 2 years. Okay, I think there's another question here about the MCE. Will it be similar to the one we took on the beta version?
The beta version was the architect. So it would not be similar. But if you're asking if the new architect exam will be similar to the beta, it would, because those are the questions that we will ultimately use for the new exam, the new architect exam.
Okay. Yeah, so whoever took a beta exam before, I did as well. The idea of the beta is to be close to the real exam. The questions are not identical, but basically the certification is testing for the same skills like the real exam. Okay, lots of great questions. So I can see this question around the MCE. There was a lot of confusion, I think, in the community with the two tests being available, the renew test and so on. I actually wrote a blog post about it on the Marketo community of my experience taking the test. So this is just me renewing my certification, and I'm going to post it here for the folks who are renewing, just so they are aware what are the changes, the structural changes. And I also saw a question earlier about recommendations about the exam provider. So whether you take the associate, the expert, or you would take the master later, you have the option to choose between PSI and Examity, which are two test providers. So I want to ask Chiara and Ajay, would you recommend one or the other, or what can you tell us about the providers?
I don't have an opinion either way.
Veronica, is your question related to the two sides of MCE? That means two versions of MCE. Which one is better and which one they should go for?
Yeah, let me clarify. So when we register to take an exam, whichever Marketo exam, we can register to take it via Examity, which is a provider of examinations, or PSI. For example, I took it with Examity. I had to use Zoom, so I didn't have to install anything like previously we had to install Sentinel on our computers. It was much smoother for me and I had a good experience. Still a proctored exam, so someone, on the call with you, asking, for your identity, giving you the exam instructions and being there if you have questions and telling you the rules.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that, so sorry about that.
I know with PSI, others have had a good experience. So you can have GoToMeeting for your exam or Zoom for your exam. I think the different providers use different platforms. Okay. I wanna see if there's more questions before we move into the raffle. I'm very excited about that.
Veronica, will you send me the names of the winners?
Yes, so I think we can move into the raffle. Josephine here on the call, she's from the certifications team, and we are so excited she's joining us today. I think we are going to give it to Christina, where she will choose 3 winners.
Cool.
Oh, well, not me, but the wheel of fortune.
Okay.
But I will ask for your help. Let me share the screen. Okay, so hold on. There we go. I hope everybody is in the call still. So Chiara, to start first with you, you need to tell me when to click on spin.
Oh goodness. Okay, and go.
Oh, that's really exciting. So Christina has gathered the names of everybody here on the call.
Okay.
The first winner is Amod Kumar. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Do you want to come off mute for a second? Amod, can you hear us?
Yes. No.
Not able to unmute. Okay. Okay, no worries. Congratulations. I wanted to ask, which exam will you take with this voucher? The MCE, great, exciting. Wow. So congratulations. I will reach out to you for next steps and to Josephine as well. Christina, are you ready
Right.
to pick another
I
winner?
am. Yeah, this time we'll need the help of Ajay. So spinning.
Can you stop it now, please?
Yeah. I guess it stopped itself anyway.
Okay, great. Saurabh, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Which exam are you planning to take?
I'll give MC.
MC, great. And it's the first time you take the exam?
No, the second time I will give.
Exciting. Well, this is great. Congratulations. One thing to mention about the 3 vouchers, they are available for a year. So you have 1 year to study and go and take the certification.
Thank you so much, Veronica. Will you going to share on our official email ID? That
I can reach out to you via LinkedIn,
okay. Okay.
to you and Ahmad, and make sure I give you the vouchers.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. And since we have Josephine on the call, thank you very much to the team for giving these vouchers as well. Josephine, I start.
Yes.
You tell me.
Stop, please.
Okay. I guess it stops, you know. Oh, Enrico.
Hey guys, I'll pay it forward. I'm gonna take the MCE, but go ahead and respin. I'll not take it.
Okay.
Thank you though.
You're
welcome.
always so kind, Enrico.
Let's spin again. Veronica. Well.
Yeah, go for it. Keep us in suspense. We have 6 more minutes. Okay, let's slow down.
Sanket.
Sanket, okay. Sanket, are you available? Are you on the line?
Yeah, hi.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Which certification will you take?
I'm looking forward for MCP.
MCE. Wow, 3 MCEs. Exciting. Okay, well, that's really great. Thank you so much, Christina, for spinning the wheel for us a few times.
Thanks to you.
I think I will stop the recording.